Good evening. Welcome to the English News Bulletin, and for this edition, we'll begin with the headlines. President Paul Kagame has chaired a cabinet meeting days before Rwanda and the world mark 30 years since the genocide against the Tutsi, the fastest in recorded human history. The Rwanda Investigation Bureau reported that over the past 3 years, it has investigated more than 100 cases involving individuals who masquerade as occultists to deceive and defraud people of their money and belongings. Glad to have your company tonight. My name is Olive. Now to the news in details. Let's start by informing you that on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, chaired a cabinet meeting at Urugwiro village. The cabinet approved the resolutions of the previous meeting held on February 27, 2024, and the cabinet was briefed on the following: the upcoming 30th commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, program for Mourning Week, and 100 days of genocide commemoration in Rwanda and abroad. Host country agreement with the African School of Governance Foundation and its subsidiary entity, the African School of Governance. The cabinet approved the following draft laws: the draft governing refugees and applicants for refugee status in Rwanda, the draft law amending law number 30/2018 of the 2nd June 2018, determining the jurisdiction of courts, draft law governing non-governmental organizations, draft law establishing tax on minerals, draft law amending law number 024/2021 of 27th April 2021 governing cooperatives in Rwanda, draft law amending number 20/2018 of 29th April 2018, establishing regulations governing civil aviation, draft law governing the Chancellery for Heroes, National Orders, and Decorations of Honor. The Cabinet approved the following orders: Presidential Order governing the refugees and applicants for refugee status, Appeal Tribunal. Prime Minister's Order determining mission responsibilities, organizational structure, salaries, and fringe benefits for employees of the Ministry of Defense. The Cabinet approved the agreement for the appointment of the following ambassadors, honorary consul, and representative of international organizations: Mr. Pedro Leon Cortez Ruiz, Ambassador of the Republic of Colombia with residence in Nairobi; Mr. Marakot Janemakoton, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand with residence in Nairobi; Ms. Vu Tan Huyen, Ambassador of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam to Rwanda with residence in Dar es Salaam; Mr. Russian Rafael Oglu Nasibov, Ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan to Rwanda with residence in Addis Ababa; Mr. Michel Christophe Mbadinga, Honorary Consul of the Gabonese Republic with a consular seat in Kigali; Ms. Fatmata Loveta Sese, Resident Representative of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, in Rwanda. The Cabinet made the following appointments: Rwanda Food and Drugs Authority, Associate Professor Raymond Muganga, Head of the Laboratory Services Department; Dr. Vedast Habyarimana, Head of Drugs Department; Dr. Eric Nyiri Migabo, Head of Food Department; Ms. Ines Uwineza, Division Manager for Drugs Testing; Mr. Peter Rugibasira, Division Manager for Vaccines and Biologic Testings; Dr. Stephen Husi, Division Manager for Human Medicine and Devices Registration; Dr. Doreen Ingabire, Division Manager, Veterinary Medicines and Devices Registration; Dr. Marilyn Murindahabi, Division Manager for Pharmaceutical Inspection and Licensing; Mr. Lazare Nirenganya, Division Manager for Pharmacovigilance and Clinical Trial; Mr. Theobald Habiyaremye, Division Manager for Drugs Import and Export Control; Dr. Jean-Pierre Munyamhundu, Division Manager for Food Registration and Information Control; Dr. Innocent Nyamwasa, Division Manager for Food Safety Monitoring, Inspections and Licensing; Mr. José Edouard Minyagaju, Division Manager for Regulatory Ecosystem Strategy; Ms. Marie-Ange Ouassé, Division Manager for Quality Management System; Ms. Solange Ninette Wazina, Division Manager for Food Imports and Exports; Dr. Janvier Mutiza, Division Manager for Cosmetics and Household Chemicals Registration. The Ministry of Health, Ms. Elizi Uwumutima, Director General of Corporate Services. In the Rwanda Biomedical Center, Ms. Aniki Shimwe, Division Manager for Medical Technology. Ms. Sophie Nzabananimana, Division Manager of Corporate Services. AOBs, the Minister of Youth and Arts informed the Cabinet of Rwanda participation as a guest country of honor at the upcoming 13th edition of the Abidjan Market for the Performing Arts, scheduled to take place in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, from April 13th, 20th to 20th, 2024. The Minister of Health informed the Cabinet of the upcoming Multilateral Initiative for Malaria, Society 8th Pan-African Malaria Conference 2024, scheduled to take place in Kigali from April 21st to 27th, 2024. The Minister of Sports informed the Cabinet of the following international games and sports events taking place in Rwanda and abroad from April to May 2024. Rwanda will host the African Rhythmic Gymnastics Qualifying Championships, scheduled to take place in Kigali from April 25th to 28th, 2024. The Rwanda Patriotic Army Basketball Club, APR BBC, representing Rwanda in the Basketball Africa League Season 4, will participate in the Sahara Conference Games to be played in Dakar, Senegal, from May 4th, 12th, 2024. This was done on Kigali, April 3rd, 2024, and signed by Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente. To more news, the plenary session of the Senate has approved the draft law regulating the functioning of the Chamber of Deputies. This draft law is anticipated to enhance the efficiency of the Chamber's operations, as endorsed by the Senate. Adam Squizera with the report.
The draft law regulating the functioning of the Chamber of Deputies was approved on Wednesday, following extensive review by the presidents of the committees in the Senate. Those committees convened 18 times since January 2023. The review process was prolonged due to the need to wait for the Parliament to vote on the amendments to the Constitution and the organic law related to the government activity oversight. This was to ensure alignment between the changes in those laws and the provision outlined in the draft organic law. The draft law initially comprised 234 articles, but during its review in the Presidential Council, the deputies added 3 more articles. Vice President of the Senate, Nyirasafari Esperance, affirms that the insights provided by the presidents of the committees in the Senate regarding the articles composing the law governing the functioning of the Chamber of Deputies will contribute to enhancing the Chamber's activities.
It's understandable that this organic law must be well explained because it will govern the activities, from the MP's rights, operations and commissions, the way plenary sessions are gathered and led. Sincerely, it's a valuable act which is worthy for taking all this time reviewing it, as we expect that it will also help the Chamber of Deputies to enhance its activities and responsibilities.
During the plenary session of the Senate, the Vice President of the Chamber of Deputies, Musa Fazil Harerimana, highlighted that certain expressions and spellings common in the former organic law led to confusion regarding the responsibilities of the members of Parliament. This confusion arose to the titles used in various articles, which hindered the execution of certain activities of the parliamentary members. When examining the written contents of the Constitution and how it reflects parliamentary functions, notable changes have occurred. For instance, in Parliament, the terminology shifted from identify and control government activities to simply control, reflecting the principle that effective oversight requires understanding. Consequently, when such amendments are made to the Constitution, it necessitates a comprehensive revision of all related aspects. Another significant change pertains to the written content in the Kinyarwanda language, which evolves over time, leading to adjustments in certain words to maintain accuracy and relevance. In this draft, there is also an article that underscores the establishment and operation of a special committee tasked with promptly studying and foreseeing events as they occur. Both chambers approved the necessity of this committee.
Normally, issues are reviewed by the usual committees. However, if there arises an issue that necessitates input from various members of Parliament, a special committee is convened. Additionally, a specific time frame is allotted for this process. Once the designated period concludes, the special committee is disbanded.
Among the articles contained in the organic law regulating the operation of the Chamber of Deputies, approximately 64 were approved without any modification. However, 54 underwent grammatical revision, while 100 articles underwent quality corrections. Additionally, 16 articles were removed, while 10 new ones were added. During the plenary session of the Senate, all 23 senators attended voted in favor of this law. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. Now to more news. The Rwanda Investigation Bureau reported that over the past 3 years, it has investigated more than 100 cases involving individuals who masquerade as occultists to deceive and defraud people of their money and belongings. This announcement was made on Wednesday alongside the identification of 3 people suspected of involvement in such crimes. We have details on this story. All 3 individuals are accused of 6 crimes, primarily involving the mistreatment of animals. Their deceptive practices allegedly include the use of snakes, tortoise, animal skins, horns, herbs, and other items to defraud people. According to Dr. Murangira Thierry, the spokesperson for the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, these individuals masquerade as witch doctors, promising to assist people in recovering stolen goods or curing incurable illnesses through their fraudulent practices.
When seeking these services, individuals are asked to remove clothing from the upper part of their body and set aside their funds. They are then requested to provide the agreed upon payment up front before receiving any service. Brokers instruct them to give 35,100 Rwandan francs as an offering to the ancestors, supposedly represented by Mutajiri. Behind the curtain, individuals manipulate candles and create noises to mimic ancestral communication. If the initial offering is rejected, they release a tortoise and snake to intimidate the victim into providing more money. Victims often realize they have been scammed only after the promised results fail to materialize, leading them to file complaints with the Investigation Bureau, often delayed.
RIB spokesperson Dr. Murangira Thierry seized the opportunity to caution Rwandans against engaging with individuals of this nature, emphasizing that they are manipulative individuals seeking to exploit others for personal gain, ultimately aiming to deprive them of their belongings.
I also encourage individuals who have fallen victim to scams and feel fearful or hesitant to come forward to file complaints with the Rwanda Investigation Bureau. Please do not feel ashamed. We are here to support you. Our Bureau is dedicated to assisting you, and we will maintain confidentiality throughout the process. Rest assured, we are committed to apprehending and holding accountable those responsible for these crimes.
According to the RIB spokesperson, there are also individuals who engage in scamming activities by exploiting social media platforms through prophecies and witchcraft to intimidate and deceive people.
Many of these individuals deceive victims by falsely claiming that they are at risk of imminent death due to illness, accidents, poisoning, or impending disasters such as fires. They may also fabricate stories about someone casting a spell on the victim, insisting that an expensive offering is required to remove the curse or threat.
The Rwanda Investigation Bureau has reported that over the past 3 years, starting from 2021, it has received 117 cases involving more than 200 suspects. These cases have resulted in the theft of over 102.4 million. It has been noted that many of these suspects have a history of previous imprisonment and have continued to commit such crimes even after completing their sentences. Additionally, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau has observed that Rwandans living abroad are also among the victims of such fraudulent activities. The Bureau strongly advises individuals to file complaints with any RIB station if they encounter such fraudulent activities. Moving ahead, senators in the Rwandan parliament find that Rwanda should withdraw confidence in the countries in the region when it comes to sending genocide suspects, as these countries have continued to drag their feet on the implementation of the terms of the agreement with Rwanda. Prince Manzi files the report.
In the report presented by the Minister of Justice, 13 countries included are from Africa, including countries in East African region. Senators reiterate that for the majority of signatories to the agreement, where those of before the genocide, is one of the loopholes that is delaying the implementation of its contents. The instance is Zambia. I speak of it as I went in the negotiations at that time. They were even resistant, and they wanted to sign future trades, and yet our target was genocidaires. There, it was even obvious that the suspects were supportive to the government, which means that these agreements had to be renegotiated, because also like the agreements with DRC are unimpactful. One of the issues presented include that some of these countries provided nationality to suspects of the genocide against the Tutsi, and other countries drag their feet when it comes to the implementation. Stating that this is diminishing the crimes, senators find that Rwanda should withdraw confidence in the countries in the region when it comes to sending genocide suspects and rather fight against those that wish to draw it into conflicts. When you look at the list of the countries, most of them are even in the region, and people are not brought before justice. We are all aware of the genocide ideology in the western and southern neighboring countries. 30 years are enough, and these suspects are circulating the genocide ideology. Honorable Adija Ndangiza Murangwa, the chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security, elaborates the measurements in place gives hope that in the near future, the number of genocide suspects living abroad will be brought to justice.
Mu gihe kandi u Rwanda ruzasinya amasezerano arwinjiza muri London scheme.
In time, Rwanda will sign London and Harare scheme. This will lead to collaboration of Commonwealth countries in investigations, and yet no need with each country to sign, and this the committee finds it to be more effective in arresting suspects in different countries, especially the Commonwealth.
Bihishe mu bindi bihugu by'umwihariko ibigize Commonwealth.
The report of this committee demonstrates that from 2007 to date, Rwanda has provided 1,000 international arrest warrants for genocide suspects. 59 were arrested, equivalent to 5%. 30 people were extradited, and 29 were tried outside Rwanda.
In Gisagara district, organizations like Ibuka, ARG, GARG, and AVEGA have initiated a range of activities at the national level to support and stand in solidarity with survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, particularly as Rwanda approaches the 30th commemoration. These efforts aim to provide comprehensive assistance and emotional support to survivors. We have details in the story. At the Gisagara district level, these activities started with the community work of cleaning the memorial site of the genocide against the Tutsi in Kabuye and its surroundings. Umuringa Liv and Rushaigi Jonathan, both young in their 20s, are aware of the genocide's history but draw inspiration from it to build a Rwanda characterized by unity and resilience among all its population.
I also second the programs of the government of Rwanda, such as the Umunyarwanda program, which promote unity and resilience. I'm committed to continuing to collaborate with the government and participating in activities aimed at supporting genocide survivors, helping them maintain their resilience, contributing to the country's development efforts. We are doing this initiative during the commemoration of the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in 1994 to ensure that survivors do not feel alone, but rather supported. Our aim is to demonstrate that, despite the loss of their loved ones, it is not the end of their lives. Instead, we want to show them that we stand beside them, ready to support them in moving forward with strength and resilience, assisting them in living well and rebuilding their lives. In anticipation of the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, the Ibuka organization has initiated a program titled Genocide Survivors in Community, with the objective of expressing gratitude to the country for the support extended over the past 30 years.
iki gikorwa twateguye cya survivors in the community.
The activity we have organized, entitled Genocide Survivors in the Community, is aimed at preparing Rwandans for the 30th commemoration. We have planned this to express our gratitude to our government for maintaining peace and stability in our country for the past 30 years, preventing atrocities and safeguarding our right to live peacefully. Additionally, we intend to commend the leadership led by His Excellency Paul Kagame and appreciate the efforts of the RPF Inkotanyi, who worked tirelessly to liberate our country from the tragedy of the genocide. Denise Dusabe, the Deputy Mayor of Gisagara District in charge of social affairs, recognizes the significance of the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi as a valuable opportunity to provide support to vulnerable survivors. Survivors of the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi have diverse needs, some of which we have emphasized, such as assisting those with old houses in need of renovation. We are planning various community works and seek your assistance to support these activities aimed at assisting genocide survivors. Together, we can collaborate to achieve these goals and provide meaningful assistance to those in need. The initiatives for the 30th commemoration will last 100 days and involve various activities. These include the community work known as Umuganda, focusing on cleaning memorial sites. Additionally, efforts will aim to promote the well-being of genocide survivors through targeted initiatives. Discussions will be organized to educate and prepare the community for the commemoration, while food distribution activities will provide support to selected families, including those who played heroic roles in rescuing individuals during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. Tomorrow News renewable energy experts affirm that there is a huge gap between the private sector and universities in this area of energy efficiency, yet it is a level of sustainable solutions to clean air pollutants. Christelle Uwase with more.
A student at the University of Rwanda, Dushimimana Juhia, with the help of the Unipod Innovation Advocacy Center, has developed a way to connect conventional broadband and solar panels. He explains how it works.
This device is able to switch automatically from one source to another so that there is no cutoff. Yeah, it is contributing to help people to use the solar as much as possible and get backup from grid. And I say grid is the national electricity. This is helping people to reduce the consumption, the tariff. Now the users are saying that they are saving more than 97.5% of their usual energy consumption.
The 2022 census showed that firewood users were at 76.1%, but of those, 36.5% used firewood, while 75.9% of the households have electricity. 21.9% of residents use solar energy. In terms of access to fuel, Rwanda aims to reduce the number of firewoods and coal from 80% in 2017 to 42% by June this year and 20% by 2030. Some students at the University of Rwanda have begun to look for solutions to the fuel and at a lower cost.
We are using the bio-waste to produce the bio-coals, which is affordable, clean, and also sustainable. And also, we have developed the improved cooking stove, which will be working on the steam process. How to work, there will be no direct contact between the food you are cooking and also the briquettes or the other mean of cooking you'll be using.
Before I did it with manually, I did it with my hand. It boosted my idea so that I'm making things better than how I did. I used the renewable energy during the production. In making these teaching materials, I use machine. That machine is already connected to the solar energy. You understand that there is a use of energy in my production.
Serge Wilson Muhizi, CEO of the Energy Private Sector Forum, says that there is a gap between universities and the private sectors in terms of renewable energy and fuel.
There is this unqualified students which are sent to the private sector. So due to that, because they have been not, they were not contributing, in the content that these students are receiving. So, but from this kind of dialogue, we are looking also how we can bring also in, we can get some contribution from the private sector in the curriculums that's curriculums and the content that the university is giving to the students, so that at the end of the day, by giving this content, which is a comprehensive, which have the aspect and expectation from the private sector, you'll be sending, the right students on the marketplace.
The private sector in this field of energy and fuel found on the 3rd met with researchers, teachers and students from Rwandan universities and colleges to discuss the issue involved. The principal of the College of Science and Technology, Dr. Ignace Gatare, says that cooperation between the two institutions will provide long-lasting results.
So why do we need academia-industry linkages or partnership? Is to allow the university not to work in isolation, to identify the challenges of the industry and discuss with the industry about its needs and orient our education and research towards finding a solution. That's why, with the support of the government, the University of Rwanda is hosting the African Center of Excellence in Energy for Sustainable Development, but also the Grid Innovation Incubation Hub, to ensure that we conduct research, and that research is done in collaboration with the industry.
At the global level, more than 3 billion people use firewood and coal as fuel, and the energy sector alone is the source of 60% of greenhouse gas emissions. More than 1 billion people in Africa do not have a good way to cook, and 4 million people on the continent die each year from respiratory illness due to the firewood and coal. Christelle Wase, RwandaTV News.
And the story brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the technical and news production team, thank you for being part of our news today. Enjoy the rest of the week. Take care and goodbye.